Welcome to the Country Hipster Podcast. My name is Paul. I am the Country Hipster. That music you heard was the Unholy Four from Charlottesville, Virginia.
I was like, yes.
Oh, yes. And the song Dirty Knife. So go check out the Unholy Four on Instagram, Bandcamp, Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you can find the Unholy Four. Ottsville Record Garage. So it is Thursday. We only got a couple days left in May, so that the promo code KITTEN, KITTEN, for 15% is still valid until midnight, June 1st, and then it's not KITTEN. You can't use it anymore. But since June 1st is Saturday, you can start using promo code BIRTHDAY, because my birthday is this month. And and if you use that at OttsvilleRecordGarage.com, you can save 15% off of your entire order. That is a podcast specific promo code. So for listening or watching the Country Hipster Podcast, you can get 15% off of your vinyl or whatever you're looking for at OttsvilleRecordGarage.com.
Since I missed my chance this past month to come up with the code, I already have July's.
Okay, you have July's.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, tell me closer to July.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's going to be a season 2 thing. We might change it all. We might not even do podcast specific promo codes in season 2.
No,
I'm kidding.
No.
We'll totally still do
I would say the thing that I have is ongoing
Okay.
in the podcast. So
Right.
it'll be
Cool. Well, speaking of Kitten and Bitchin' Kitten, where we had our last pop-up event, I'm playing Bitchin' Kitten on Sunday, the 2nd. I'm actually playing music there from 3 to 6 p.m. So if you're in the lower Bucks County, Morrisville, PA, Trenton, New Jersey area, stop by Sunday to Morrisville to Bitchin' Kitten Brewery, and you can see me play some tunes. And I will be doing more pop-up events there as well. The last one was a lot of fun. The gentleman to my left is my co-host and brother, Adam, the Country Crocodile Dundee.
it's true.
Yes, because as you can see, we are drinking oil cans of, Foster's premium beer here. So I asked, what's funny, because it's actually, I just fucking saw this, man.
It
says
found in Australia, celebrated worldwide, brewed in the USA.
Okay, all right, there you go. So I've only ever had the Boston Lager. I never had the premium.
Not Boston Lager.
That's yes. All right, the Foster's Lager.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the blue can.
Yes, the blue.
Actually, when I grabbed this case at the beer distributor, a guy just like ran out of the back cooler. He's like, were you looking for the blue? And I'm like, no. He's like, oh, okay. And just descended back into the cooler.
He's probably like, someone's actually buying the premium. Oh, this is good. This is really good.
Someone's buying that whole fucking case of 2 oil cans.
Mm-hmm.
What an idiot.
This is pretty ridiculous as far as like large beers. Funny story. I went to Chicago. This was like years ago. This is probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I went to Chicago with some friends for a Phillies game, and we went to this place called Dick's Last Resort, and you could buy like oil cans and just walk around drinking them. You could buy 40s there and just walk around drinking them and shit like that.
That's cool.
So I got the oil can because it was the most ridiculous thing in the world to be able to walk around a bar drinking an oil can.
It makes me laugh because when in Pennsylvania, at least by me, when supermarkets started selling beer, they found the loophole where they could start selling beer.
Uh-huh.
They always had they had 6-packs, they had make your own 6-packs, but then they always had like the 24-ounce cans or like the big, natty ice.
Yeah,
the natty ice fucking things. But they always had oil cans, and they were always like $2.50. I'm like, that's not a bad fucking.
No, it's not.
I think I literally the first time I tried Foster's, I picked up a green and I picked up a blue for $5.
I like to get the oil cans when I'm like mowing the lawn in the summer. Like, I'll get an oil can of like not an oil can, a tall boy of like PBR or Hot Life or Modelo, like whatever. And it's usually like $1.50, whatever. And I'm just sitting there on the zero turn drinking my beer. I usually it's crazy because like I need to get that thing. I've seen like
keep that in mind. Paul also told me today he hit his stump and fucked up one of the blades on his zero turn. So now this makes sense.
Yes. But I wasn't drinking when that happened. That was the thing. The funny thing though is when I called the repair shop, I was like, yeah, I hit a stump and the blade flew off, and I didn't really think much of it because I've hit stumps all the time. And the woman just laughed. She's like, oh, God. I was like, I guess I really messed it up this time. But
this fucking idiot.
But no, I need to get that thing. I saw this, like, you could get, like, I saw a commercial. I think it was on TikTok. Where you can get this thing to, like, put on your can of beer to, like, keep, like, debris off of it and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So I need to get that because, honestly, like, I'm sitting there in the zero turn, and I'm, you get grass and fucking leaves, and I'm hitting trees and stumps and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I'll go to like take like a sip of my beer, and I'm like, oh, cool, there's a twig in the fucking beer. You know what I mean? So
I'm not saying it's not like you can. It's not like you can just constantly keep the beer at your mouth, because you kind of need both hands to drive a zero turn.
You absolutely need both hands to drive a zero turn. It's actually it's a lot of fun though. I never thought I would like enjoy that.
I've driven them twice at work now, and it's fun as shit.
Yeah.
Oh, which reminds me, I told you I had a fucking steering for you.
You have a story. That's good.
So it is Memorial Day weekend here in the States.
It was, because it's Thursday now, so we just have Memorial Day.
Yeah, so we are recording on Memorial Day weekend, which to all the people who have served and paid that ultimate sacrifice, thank you very much.
Yep.
So big weekend at my store. I normally don't have to work on Saturdays, but I had to work yesterday.
Oh, did you?
I worked 5 p.m. to midnight.
Okay, well, that's not too bad. Yeah. At least it wasn't like the straight overnight. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So I get in around 4:30, and the other managers are talking, and they're joking, and I thought they were kidding until my boss showed me a picture. Apparently a guy was surveying a construction site with his helicopter.
Okay.
And then was going to pick up...
Surveying
it from the sky with his helicopter. Okay. And then was going to pick up his friend. And then realized he had time to kill. And then also realized he wanted carpet for his boat. So he landed his helicopter in the parking lot of my store and came into the fucking store to buy shit.
Jesus Christ.
So
is that legal?
That's what I said. I'm like, there's got to be some legal... There's got to be some legality issues here. Yes. Like, yeah, the parking lot's big enough.
But yeah, the FFA's got to be like, what are you doing?
You can't just land a fucking helicopter in a parking lot in Hilltown, Pennsylvania.
Unless it's like an emergency.
Yeah, unless it. Yeah, no. He just. He fucking landed in the back parking lot.
Like fucking clearance and shit.
He landed in the back parking lot and went shopping. But the best thing is, there's this one item that we sell. Like,
see, I would have fucking parked right next to him.
Yeah,
and just left my car there. Fuck you, dude.
The district is like really like, we're kind of like all competing to sell this one product, and the guy fucking bought one.
Oh wow!
So my boss got a picture of him standing in front of the helicopter holding the thing, and sent it to the regional vice president. Like, we're doing so good. People are flying in from Lancaster to buy his things. I'm like, that's amazing. That's and crazy. I thought they were shitting me until he showed me his phone of this dude standing in my fucking parking lot with a fucking helicopter around him.
That just doesn't.
So like they said, I'm like, you guys are fucking with me, right? It's like, no, he needed carpet for his boat. I'm like, it must be nice to be that level of eccentric rich guy, where like you just land your helicopter in a random parking lot and then just go buy carpet for your boat, like an asshole.
Jesus Christ, man. That's crazy. But speaking of eccentric rich guys, what are we here to talk about, Adam?
Is he an eccentric rich guy?
I have no idea. It just kind of seemed like a good
we are here to cover Sigh No More by Mumford and Sons. And before we go into factoids, I'll start with a factoid.
Oh, you're going to start with a factoid before we get
before we get into the main factoids, I'm going to start with a factoid. A correction from last week's episode.
Okay, while you're doing that, I realized something.
You didn't take notes on this episode at all?
No, I got notes. I forgot one of our segments.
Oh, so I mentioned at the end of last week's episode when we pulled this, that the lead singer of Mumford and Sons is married to Michelle Williams.
Yes, you did say that.
Not married to Michelle Williams.
Okay.
Carrie Mulligan.
Who's that?
Exactly. They're almost the exact same person. Carrie Mulligan. Carrie Mulligan was in what's her she was in a movie that was like nominated for Best Picture, because Zach and I covered it on Summer Movie Club.
Okay.
I'll show you in a picture. So first, let's bring up Michelle Williams.
Yeah,
let's bring it. Let's
great.
Let's bring a picture of Michelle Williams, because
I liked her on Dawson's Creek. I don't really like Dawson's Creek, but my ex-wife made me watch Dawson's Creek. So that was fun. But
right.
what
so that's Michelle Williams.
Yep.
Okay. And then that's Carrie Mulligan. They're the same fucking person.
Yeah, pretty much. One's a brunette, one's a blonde. So.
Yeah. What was the name of that movie? Fuck.
I don't know. I mean, you just had her up.
Promising Young Woman.
Never heard.
Promising Young Woman came out in 2020. Was nominated for Best Picture that year.
Okay.
But she was also in such things as Saltburn, which caught a lot of buzz last year. She Said, which was also which was recent in 2022. There was something big that like really big that she was in. Oh, that's right. That's what I'm thinking. She played Daisy Buchanan in the Leonardo DiCaprio Great Gatsby.
Okay, all right. Yeah, no, I do remember. I actually fell asleep during that. Like, I tried to watch it. I really wanted to because I know, like, visually it was supposed to be really good, and it was
honestly,
interesting. I fucking fell asleep.
I gave up on it.
Yeah.
And there was something. Oh, you know what it was? I was watching. So I had watched Great Gatsby,
Mhm.
didn't really care for it, and then I'd watched that movie Elvis.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
good.
I texted Zach. I'm like, this is giving me heavy like Great Gatsby vibes, where it's like real old timey, but they're playing hip hop music. And Zach's like, well, it's directed by the same guy. I'm like,
No, that makes sense.
I fucking did that with my brain.
There you go.
So yeah, he's married. I stand corrected. Not married to Michelle Williams. Married to Carey Mulligan.
Very nice, very nice. We correct our. Well, no, I would say I'm gonna lie. I was gonna say we correct our mistakes on
It's
the
probably
Bunch of Hipster podcast, but we don't. We just seriously talk out our ass, and
we just
sometimes we find stuff on Wikipedia, and sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not. So there you go.
So yeah, we are here to talk about Sigh No More, which is the debut studio album from Mumford & Sons, released on October 2nd, 2009 in the UK and released February 16th, 2010 in the United States. Was recorded at Eastcote Studios in London. Released on Island and Glassnote. I'm assuming Island was in the States and Glassnote was...
Glassnote is in the state. Islands is actually located, I believe, in Ireland.
Island? Like
Island Records.
Is it?
Yeah, because that was Island Records was the original record label that U2 was on.
Oh, okay.
The Pogues were not the Pogues. Pogues. Wait, did the Pogues do Island Records? No, they didn't. But there was.
I thought Island doesn't like Def Jam have an island? Like, isn't that Def Jam Island?
I mean, Def Jam might be owned by Island.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, but no. Island Records. Like I said, I know definitely the original U2 stuff was on Island Records, and now since I didn't think about beforehand, I can't think of who else was on Island Records.
No,
but no, it was Island. Glassnote is in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
Island was in the UK.
Yeah.
And Glassnote was distributed at the time. I don't know about now, but at the time I was working for the now defunct Soundstage Direct. Glassnote was actually distributed by Red Distributors, who's a subsidiary of Sony Records.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
who was in
what?
Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon?
Sony Music.
Yeah.
Was in
Yeah.
Okay.
It felt like
6 degrees of separation.
It felt like that's what we were doing. Yeah.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Okay.
Movie. The album was produced by Marcus Davis, who has also produced such things as Arcade Fire, Coldplay, Bjork, Florence and the Machine, and Kings and Leon.
You went with that one?
For some reason,
you just didn't go to Footloose?
For some reason, I couldn't think of anything else. I drew a blank. I had Elizabeth Shue on the mind, and I couldn't think of anything else. I went Hollow Man. But yeah, Marcus Davis is
things. You know what I mean? Like
usually
A Few Good Men.
What I figured out from playing the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game is that a lot of things can be linked to Kevin Bacon being in JFK.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah,
a lot of shit comes back to JFK with Kevin Bacon.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
But yeah, so Marcus Davis.
Please repeat what you would just say.
Marcus Davis also produced Arcade Fire, Coldplay, Bjork, Florence and the Machine, and Kings of Leon.
Okay.
The album debuted at number 11 on the UK charts and peaked at number 2. Peaked at number 2 on the Billboard 200. It was number 1 on US folk, independent, alternative, rock, and tastemakers. Mid 2010, NPR All Songs Considered rated it the year-to-date 8th best record of that year.
Okay.
July 20th, 2010, shortlisted for the Mercury Prize, which is a annual prize given to the best album in the UK and Ireland. Sold over 1 million copies in the United Kingdom, over 3 million in the United States. It's the second album after The Fame by Lady Gaga to sell over 1 million digital copies. Okay. I think it sold 1.6 million.
Nice.
And I also have Married to Carey Mulligan, not to Michelle Williams. But and then my other factoid I have when we get into the whole how do we feel about this album.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Well, how do you feel about this album?
Obviously I picked it. I enjoy this album. Listening to this album, I'm still not 100% sure I made the right decision.
Okay.
because I also own their second album, Babel.
Mm-hmm. Is it Babel or Babel? I guess there's only one B. So
I
Babel,
just,
yeah.
I just, if you were paying attention right before we started recording, I looked it up to make sure the pronunciation.
Oh, okay, all right.
It is Babel.
It's Babel. Okay.
Babel.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm still not 100% sure I made the right decision. Putting Sigh No More over Babel. Babel actually has the copy that I have has Mumford and Sons performing with Paul Simon doing a version of the Boxer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a very good version.
Yeah, it is. So like I said, I remember this album coming out. I remember Zach introducing me to the band. I was actually saying to Paul, I'm almost 100% certain that this is one of the albums I inherited from my brother Zach when he came back from college. So I remember, showing it to a girl, like introducing them to like the girl I was dating at the time and everything like that. When I remember like hearing it at first and enjoying it, but the thing that really sold me on this album and on this band was if you go on YouTube and search Mumford and Sons Bookshop Sessions, there's a 4 videos of them performing. It's White Blank Page, The Cave, Little Lion Man, and Winter Winds. It's them essentially performing in a small, little, tiny like bookshop in England.
Okay.
So much so that the lead singer Marcus Mumford, who plays guitar, but for the most part also plays a bass drum and a tambourine with kick pedals. Doesn't even have a drum. He's literally just has a suitcase that he's using as the percussion. Like it
Kickbox is what they're called.
Kickbox.
Yes.
It's literally a suitcase.
Yeah. Called kickboxes.
Okay, a kickbox. But
you can actually get digital ones where you just stomp on it and it makes the same sound. So
it's not as authentic.
No, it's not.
It's not as that's not what the Lumineers would do.
No, it's not.
Did you ever see the Hard Times News thing about the lead singer of the Lumineers having to go to the hospital from bruising his heel from a foot tapping solo?
No.
It's one of my favorite Hard Times News things. But yeah, so if you get a chance, go on YouTube, look up Mumford and Sons Bookshop Sessions. It's this tiny, like the store looks like it's smaller than. The Oxford Record Garage is a 300,000 square foot,
humongous,
but it's smaller than the half bath that is in the Oxford Record Garage, which is also it's pretty solid. It was bigger than my apartment, but and it's weird because it's just the toilet and a sink. It's strange. Yeah. There's not even a baby changing station.
Nope,
it's weird.
We change Regina upstairs. We don't change her in the garage. It doesn't.
But yeah, it just looks like this tiny little intimate bookshop, and it doesn't even look like they're performing for anybody. It just looks like they're performing there.
Okay.
And just like the heart and like feeling that they're putting into it kind of sold me on this band and really kind of made me stop and really look at this album.
Okay.
So I've enjoyed this album since it came out. I've actually seen this band live.
Really?
I saw them in support of their second album. Babel, my ex-wife, bought me tickets. We saw them. I think it was still called the Tweeter Center when we were there.
Over in Camden?
Yeah.
Okay.
We saw them. It was like late December that we saw them. So it was
just the inside.
It was just the
So for people who don't know, that it's actually the B&B Pavilion on the waterfront in Camden, New Jersey, where a lot of like bands will come in. They're like, "Oh, we're playing Philly." Like, no, you're playing Camden.
Yeah.
But it's like basically a big amphitheater, and they have like lawn seating, but they do concert. They do concerts in the winter, but they'll close off the outside. They'll put these walls up, so it's actually a much more kind of intimate theater setting. Like, I'm going to say, if with the uncovered seats and the lawn, like what's it probably fit? 10,000-15,000 people.
Yeah.
You close off that section, you're probably at a 5,000 person show. So it makes a pretty big difference.
I would say we were like second to last row.
Yeah.
And if you're in the seats, there's not a bad seat in that.
No,
place.
There's not.
But yeah,
that's where I had the pleasure last summer of sleeping through Dave Matthews in the VIP seats, like that kind of like the box seats in between like the pit seats and the uncovered seats. So yeah, we were in the VIP boxes and hey, I mean it was comfortable enough. I slept.
No.
So
Did I ever tell you the interesting funny story? Not funny because people were hurt, but interesting story about what happened when I was working at Cooper Hospital right up the block from that venue.
No.
So I used to work at a hospital that was right up like literally 5 minutes from this venue that we're talking about, and it was a level 1 trauma center.
Yes, and Camden is not the nicest area.
Yeah, so. Also not the nicest of areas. So there was a Snoop Dogg was performing with Wiz. What did you do? With Wiz. What did you do, Snoop? It was nothing Snoop did. It was what the venue did.
Oh, okay.
So it was a Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa concert, and at there's where Paul was talking about the VIP. So there's the pit, there's the VIP seating, and then there's like a walkway, and then there's a wall that's about 10 feet tall, and then there's the back seats.
Yes, and beyond the back seats is the lawn.
Yes. So there's a railing at that wall, and a bunch of people were leaning on that railing, and the railing gave way.
Oh.
And a bunch of people fell 10 feet down to concrete.
Yeah.
And a lot of them got brought to my hospital, and the ER reeked of weed.
Oh, well, I'm sure.
Yeah. I was also working at that hospital. They also, the venue, the area of this venue was so big, including the lawn and everything. It's where they would also do Warped Tour when it came to Philadelphia, quote unquote Philadelphia. So I was working at the hospital the day, probably one of the last years that they did Warped Tour, the true Warped Tour. And it was just a sea of dehydrated teenagers. It was great.
Yep. I'm sure that happens a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, I've seen them live. It was a great show. Actually, I hadn't heard this. I'm not a fan of Bruce Springsteen. Let me say that. I get it. I don't care for it.
Okay.
Like I said, it's just not made for me.
I understand that.
That being said, I do have a favorite Bruce Springsteen song, and I had never heard Bruce. I heard Mumford and Sons perform it before I heard Bruce Springsteen perform it, and they closed their show by playing Atlantic City.
Oh, neat. Okay. Yeah. All right.
It was great because it was nice. They actually had can't remember the first band that played for them, but the second band that played was a band called Haim.
I've heard of them.
Basically, Girl Hanson.
Okay. All right.
But Haim.
Isn't that like
isn't that just regular Hanson?
Hanson.
But they had the other two. They had Haim and they had the other band that opened for them come out, and they all did Atlantic City.
That's pretty cool.
I've actually been able to find videos from the show that I was at. Yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Very cool.
So yeah, and it was funny because I didn't realize how really into Jesus their lyrics are until I saw them live. And you remember the infomercials from like the late 90s where it was like the compilations of like not gospel music but like Christian music, Christian rock and shit like that, and it's just like a bunch of like switching between like footage of a bunch of concerts of people just like that's how people were at the fucking Mumford and Sons concert. Okay. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this is wild.
Yeah, it's like, hey, whatever you're into. Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously I put the album on my 25. I enjoyed the album. Paul, I'm curious because you play Little Lion. I've seen you play Little Lion Man live. But I know you also play shit that you hate.
Yes.
So I feel like this is a thing that could kind of go either way. So how do you feel about this album?
Okay, so I just right up front, I like this album.
Okay.
It's good. It's well written. Instrumentation is excellent. I love the simplicity. Wait, what the fuck did I write here? See, I could never understand this. I'm such an idiot. I don't know.
You wrote
the simplistic.
You wrote 3 to 6 p.m. What the fuck does that mean?
That's bitchin' kitten. That's right. The simplistic, instrumentation. It's very good.
I mean, the band is literally guitar. Yeah. Actually, I'm seeing them live.
Oh,
the lead singer spends a significant time behind an actual drum set.
Yeah, the simplistic overdub stuff, like that's what I have written there. Yeah. I think it's good. It's emotional, very thought out lyrics, and very good phrasing. Very smart production decisions throughout this thing, like the acapella part in Little Lion Man. Like when I was listening to this, like, that's like one of those things where like they probably recorded that with music. Like the whole song is recorded with music, and then they made the producer made the decision to say on that last chorus we're actually cutting the music out, because they didn't do that. Like just the way recording works now is like they didn't do those harmonies while playing their instruments. They didn't do it. They recorded all their instruments. Excuse me. They probably didn't even do a live recording of it. It was probably, each person came in and did their thing to a click track, which is fine. It's just normal. I'm not trying to take anything away from it. And
it's just how,
right. Then they went back and recorded their vocals, whatnot. And I would say it was probably a decision by the producer to say, we're going to cut the music here and just do the vocal track for the last course, which was absolutely the correct decision to make, because it definitely pushes that song to the end.
Now, speaking on that, when I mentioned the bookshop sessions, when they do the little Lion Man for the bookshop sessions, the I guess you would call it the break,
the bridge,
that when you listen to the album, it just the ahs just get progressively more intense, and then the chorus comes back in. When you listen to the bookshop sessions version of it, the ahs get more and more intense, and then he counts it back in, and then the chorus,
okay,
and like that adds something to it as well. Like it's
that's why there are no buried instruments in this recording as well, which even though it's overdubbed, like you have guitar tracks they go back and do, and it's just, but they're good. They're mixed really well. Production on this album is great. I think it's good, but it's not great. And why I say that is I actually don't get...
You think the album's good, but not great.
Right.
Okay, continue.
I do not understand...
I thought you were talking about the production value.
No,
just
the album in general.
Okay.
I don't understand why people completely lost their shit over this album. Because that happened.
Yeah.
People were like, oh my God, Mumford Sons is the greatest fucking thing ever since, like, I fucking, like, learned how to orgasm as a 10-year-old. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, wait a minute. No, this... And that was the thing that it got to me is like, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the album. Like I said, it's a good album, and I do like the album.
Yeah.
But like of the 12 tracks, there's like 3 to 5 that like if I saw them live, it's funny you mentioned you saw them live. If I saw them live, those are like on, and like not even kidding, at least 3, probably up to 5 songs on this album that if they played, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to go grab a drink, or I'm going to go take a piss, or I'm going to stop by the merch stand, just because they just were like, you know what I mean? Not bad songs, not poorly written, not poorly recorded, just I don't really care if you say this. But that being said, there's 6 songs that if I saw them live, I would be excited and expecting to see them play. You know what I mean? The only thing I think is like, and that's the other thing with this, like, and that's where I'm trying to like put myself back to that to understand what was so phenomenal about this album. Because like in that like 2009 to 2011 era, because it was released in 2009 in the UK, it was 2010 it came out in the US, and it was 2011 where it really got like all of its like accolades here in the US. But like in that time, like you had the Decemberists, you had the Avett Brothers, Defiance, Ohio, Of Mice and Men, not Of Mice and Men, something else, Of Something and Men, whatever. Of Mother and Men? I don't know. Either way, I can't read my writing. I'm an idiot, and I did this morning. But, like, there's a lot of bands who were doing, like, this type of thing with these extra instrumentation, like the banjo, the upright bass, the broken down drums. Lumineers were, like, 2012-ish.
Yeah,
so they were a little bit after.
Lumineers were a little after.
Yeah, but you have these, like, you have other bands and other good indie rock heading in this direction, like Bon Iver, what is it?
Bon Iver.
Iron and
Bon Iver.
Iron and Wine. You have even Glenn Hansard at that. You know what I mean? At that point, you have bands doing this type of sound that's not completely dissimilar.
Yeah.
But why did people lose their shit over this? That's what I don't get. All those other bands I've mentioned, I actually like their stuff better than this.
I think I can sum it up.
Okay.
I think it's because Little Lion Man is catchy as fuck.
It is. No, that's the thing. It is a catchy song, but like it's like. But these other bands I mentioned have done catchy as fuck songs.
That's true. They have, but I don't, but none of those bands have done anything that was commercially as successful as Little Lion Man.
Okay, all right, right, but like,
so I think what it is
so basically they kind of like it was a pop music thing.
I think what it is Mumford and Sons gave a super fucking catchy pop song, but they performed it with an outside of ordinary instrumentation.
Okay.
That everybody then latched onto, like, oh, I'm different because I listen to this band with a banjo and an upright bass.
Even though there were a ton of bands already doing it. Okay,
yes.
Okay, no, that...
But no.
Thank you. Thank you. That actually makes sense.
No, other bands were doing it, yes, but the people who weren't listening to that type of music, right, who then heard Little Lion Man and went, oh, that's catchy as fuck, were now like, oh, I'm so cool because I have that, like... Look at this band. They have a. I'm so alternative.
Yeah, because when you really go back to it, and we realized this when we did the episode, we really go back to it. The predecessor, the band that brought this different instrumentation to the forefront was Milk Hotel.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because they were doing the stuff with the banjo and the flugelhorns and the different instrumentation, the upright basses, and all that kind of stuff. So it was different. It was like that, but they didn't, Airplane Over the Sea, that's like, what a beautiful sight. That's a pretty fucking catchy song. But again, it was what, like almost 10 years before this album came out, or actually it was more than 10 years when this album came, this album came out. So, but it just that was the thing. But that actually makes a lot of sense. What you're saying does make sense.
And I think that's what it was. It was something different that was people could latch onto because it seemed more, dare I say, hipster.
Okay.
And it was a catchy thing to boot.
Right.
So you could latch onto it because you could fucking sing along to it. You
Canadian?
Yes.
Okay.
You could stomp your feet to it. You could sing along to it, and you could also get street cred because you listen to something that has a banjo in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not straight like Irish like.
And I will say the fucking banjo in it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Like I could sit here and I could tell you that I could not name any besides Hasty Dixie. I could not name any bluegrass bands. The only reason I can name Hasty Dixie is because they do AC/DC songs in bluegrass form.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like, I love bluegrass. I love the fucking banjo. I love mandolin. I love hearing that stuff. And the fucking banjo player on this album, it's like, oh my God. Like,
he's very, very good.
Yeah. How do you fucking do this? But it is funny because after this album came out, that's when like I also saw, and some of them are my friends, the solo performers getting the kickboxes and the little pedals where you can do the stomp and you know what I mean, doing like sort of like,
and that's the thing, like
harmonica on and shit.
It was something different that was that they kind of made it cool, and it was like, if I went to a bar and saw some dude with playing an acoustic guitar with a fucking kick pedal and a bass drum, I'd be like, oh shit, he's like, look at this fucking Mumford and Sons motherfucker. Well,
here's another thing. Here's another fucking band that, like, I'm thinking of, like when you said nerd, they have some fucking poppy songs who had this weird instrumentation and this different stuff and was playing around this time. We fucking covered on the podcast, friends of the podcast, River City Extension, banjo, flugelhorn, upright bass, cello, fucking keyboards, maracas, all that kind of shit, and they didn't have, and they're homegrown. I mean, was it? And they have some poppy songs. I mean, fucking Something Salty, Something Sweet. You're gonna tell me that's not right up there with Little Lion Man?
Yeah, Something Salty, Something Sweet. I mean, fucking Our New Intelligence. They're catchy fucking songs.
Exactly. So that's why it's just kind of like funny that just like
I think,
and that's the thing. That's why I never understood why people lost their shit over this album.
And I think that's it boils down to that too, where not only was it a catchy fucking song that could give you street cred because it was something different, but it just was one of those fucking right place, right time type things. Like it's one of those unexplainable, like shot in the dark type fucking things.
And it's funny because like I'm talking about all these different bands that are like kind of like different or kind of almost like offshoots. I actually would not. This is the one genre of like type of like indie rock, alt rock, folk rock, whatever.
Yeah.
I actually don't consider any of these bands copycats because I think they all are different enough of each other to have a unique twist on what they're doing on that style of music. I mean, and you like, even like, to go back to like last week's episode, thank you so much, Skinny Lister.
Thank you again, guys.
Yes, to put Skinny Lister into that.
Also, real quick, I listen to Shanty Punk. Fuck, is it good?
Yes, it is.
Go listen to Shanty Punk.
Yes. But at any rate, so you go, you have, and because they were around at this time too. You have what Skinny Lister does. You have what Mumford and Sons does.
Yeah.
You have what the Decemberists do, and you have what the Avett Brothers do, and they're all.
Do you say Avett? I say Avett.
Whatever it is. Are you really going to go by me?
No, that's what I'm curious.
I say Avett. Sometimes I say Avett. Sometimes I say Avett. I don't know. But you have all of these bands that are of that similar, and then River City Extension, of their similar style, that similar feel. But they are all unique enough to say that they're not copycats of one another, which wasn't the thing with hair metal, which wasn't the thing with grunge, which isn't the thing with hip hop to an extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that is kind of, and even when you get into pop punk, there's like a lot of it's copycat. Emo has a bunch of copycats. I don't think that there's when you
start getting into like all the offshoots of screamo and metalcore and all that bullshit is I close my eyes and I can't tell the difference.
Yes.
It's always interested me though, like what we're talking about is bands that are kind of in that same wheelhouse, where one is significantly more popular than the other.
Yep.
It's like it's always interested me. Like, I've seen, of course, none are coming to the top of my head right now, but like bands where they're very similar in style, but one is significantly better, but the lesser one is the successful one. And it's always interested me. It's like, how does this happen? Like, what is that shot in the dark where that spark that is, for some reason,
that's the band.
The lesser of the two is the one that gets the notoriety.
Yep. No, it is interesting. And like I said, that's the thing that gets me with this album is, like I said, it's a good album. I do overall like the album. It's just, I seriously, like when I look at, 2009 and 2011, like I seriously do not understand why or how people completely lost their shit about this album. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, it feels like a breakup album, even though according to when you look it up, it's not a breakup album. It's supposed to be about the human experience, and it's specifically Sigh No More is a reference to Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. But like, art is the meaning of art is in the eye of the beholder, and as the beholder of looking at this art, it is a breakup album that could have been written by Rob Gordon about one of his top 5 breakups. And of course, I'm referencing Rob Gordon in the movie High Fidelity.
Yes.
That does indeed star Jack Black.
Does star Jack Black.
Does star Jack Black. He is in that movie 100%.
The polls are in, and it does star Jack Black.
It does. I actually had someone send me a screenshot of the movie the other day. And it had Jack Black on the screen with his name, and that person said, "Oh, look, Jack Black is in High Fidelity. It was fucking great. It was awesome."
I forgot what John Cusack's name in the movie was, and it was like, hey, DJ Rock Gordon.
It took me. I had to look that up, but yeah, I almost just called him Lloyd Dobler because I have that whole
You do have the
Lloyd Dobler,
the John Cusack multiverse theory going on.
But, like I said, overall,
when did we talk? If you guys haven't listened to it yet, go and search Summer Movie Club on whatever podcast platform you find us on.
Everything we're on,
you can find Summer Movie Club, and look for the High Fidelity episode to listen to Paul's Lloyd Dobler.
No, that was on our. Thing.
No, it
wasn't. It was on our Say Anything episode. Yeah.
Oh shit, that's right. It was.
I mean, listen. It's been like 40 years since we started.
It has
season
been.
1.
It's been.
I understand why you forget.
It has been. Never mind. I mean, go listen to the High Fidelity episode because it's literally. So Paul, when we recorded the High Fidelity episode, I was in Paul's kitchen.
Yes.
And we were on the phone with Zach.
Yeah.
And it's essentially 4 hours of Paul and I talking over Zach and Zach trying to get a word in.
And we didn't let them.
Yeah,
It was great.
but that's right. It wasn't the Say Anything episode where we talked about the Lloyd Dobler multiverse.
No, that was because
That's fucking funny.
I didn't really have a whole lot to.
I'm losing my mind. I do too many podcasts.
Yeah, I'm going with the Trogs sunshine pills.
Rally shells, she shells by the
I'm
seashore.
going with the sunshine pills. Here, let me grab you a beer. Here you go, buddy.
No, oh, Jesus Christ. So let's I like you guys. I'm going to be honest with you. This was the first beer that I happened to reach into the thing and grab. And I said to Paul, why the fuck did you bring this out here? It's fucking...
It's a Modelo.
We can't do it.
Chelada. Actually, you should try that Leisure Cruise, though. That's actually...
Oh, this one? Yeah, I saw this.
Yep,
raspberry wheat.
Yeah, it's nice. It's
another Trogs.
Yes. I got a Trogs, like...
Ooh, shit. Fairly local Trogs.
Yes, Hershey Park area.
They have towels over there.
Mm-hmm. It's all good. It's all good. Those towels are for other stuff.
I was actually telling my ex-wife, every time I go over to watch to be with the boys, there's always shit, which I think it might be Sunshine Pills.
Okay.
No, it's not Sunshine Pills. It's one of the IPAs. I can't remember which one it is. But there's always Trogs in the refrigerator because her new boyfriend, it's like his favorite beer is this one Trogs IPA. So I was telling her, I'm like, you should go out to the fucking brewery. Yeah. I was like, it's literally right up the street from Hershey Park.
And if you drop my name, you'll probably get a private tour.
Yeah. I was like, and like I said, like they've got really good beer, they've got really good fucking food. And I was like, and I got brown butter popcorn. Yes. I told so many fucking people about this brown butter popcorn.
Yes.
Because Paul talked it up all the way from Ben Salem to Hershey.
Yep. I'm very excited that I'm going to be we're going to be in August, spending a couple days out there in Hershey. We're going to see Green Day and Rancid, and unfortunately, Smashing Pumpkins at the.
I want to give a shout out to one of my associates, Johnny, because he was wearing a Smashing Pumpkins T-shirt at work the other day, and I was saying how you said when you saw Smashing Pumpkins, it was one of the worst shows you've ever seen.
Shows I've ever seen.
Did you see them?
Lollapalooza '94.
So I thought I was like, he was like. Because he asked if you when you saw them, like I'm pretty sure he saw them like mid '90s. Like I want to say he saw them like when they were first kind of coming out.
It's more than first coming out, man.
No, when was
it was pre Melancholy.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. I said I'm pretty sure he saw them pre Melancholy.
Yeah, I mean, Disarm was their second album. Gish is their first album, which apparently is supposed to be amazing. Gish is okay. Disarm's okay. They weren't good, man. Yeah. Not Disarm. I'm sorry. Siamese Dreams.
Yeah.
Siamese Dreams. Disarm is the only good song on Siamese Dreams. Yeah. Which was the only song I really wanted to see them play, and it was fucking horrible. So I'm like, all right, we're leaving. We're out. Yeah. We're out. But no, it's just they just were disappointing. But no, I'm gonna be out there, and we're gonna be going to the concert, staying out in that area. So I am definitely going to be making sure I stop by Trogs and get some brown butter fucking popcorn because it's delicious. But no, overall, I think it's a good album, yet maybe a little overrated.
Okay, I can see that.
And again, I'm not.
It's I get it because, like you said, like we've both said, it's you don't understand why this got so much hype. I have my theory on why it has so much hype, which kind of like Postal Service, where it was hyped up a lot to you, and it could never live up to the expectations that were built up for it.
But I'll tell you this, in regards to that, between Postal Service and this, I like this a hell of a lot better than I like Postal Service. Postal Service was a total letdown.
Oh, yeah.
This album wasn't a letdown. Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't. It's not that like it was overhyped to me. I mean, it was, in my opinion, overhyped, but not to the point where I'm just like, I'm not listening to this and be like, this is horrible. I don't fucking get it. It's a good album. Yeah. It's just not a great album. You know what I mean? And that's like the way people, number one, were buying it, the way people were talking about it. There was the kid, and like, we got to raise a glass to him. I really wish that I remembered his name, but he, there was this thing back in like this time period. He was a PGW worker, Philadelphia Gas Works, and there was like this, like he was working on a gas leak, and there was this huge explosion. This was in Northeast Philly. And he lost his life. He was like 19 years old.
I remember this.
And apparently this album was his favorite album of all time, and there was this whole petition to get Mumford and Sons to play in Philadelphia for like the anniversary of his first death, first year,
wow.
all this kind. There was this whole thing about it, and it's just like, okay, listen, like I understand that, and that's tragic, and let's raise a glass for that guy. But like, really, that's your whole. This is your favorite album in the whole wide world. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not even like it was out that long. It's like it reminds me of like this friend of mine who like is an amazing musician.
Is this the continue?
He's an amazing musician, absolutely 100% amazing musician. Can play fucking anything. But we'll sit there and be like, this album's the greatest. Oh my god, I'm so inspired by this band that no one's heard of, but it's like they have one album out, dude. It came out 10 months ago. Like how is this the greatest band you have ever heard? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, like you can hear a new band and enjoy them and really enjoy what they do, but I still don't see like this album. I just don't see as like the greatest album ever written.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Neither do I, and I'm the one who put it on my 25.
That's where I get like kind of like lost with this album. Is like, really, am I really that disconnected that like I don't get it? Because I really don't think I am.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Like I said, when listening to this album, I was listening to it going, should I have picked this or should I have picked Babel?
Well, okay, so that's the thing. I've never listened to Babel. But that being said,
I have it over there. You can listen to it if you want.
Well, that's the thing. I actually do want to check it out because here's what I will remember about Babel. And I actually happen to be wearing my Soundstage Direct Got Vinyl T-shirt that he gave to me like the first day I started working. And the owner's like, "Here, take this shirt." I'm like, "All right, cool, man. It's a cool fucking shirt." You know what I mean? So it reminds me of the story of when I was working there and Babel was getting ready to come out, right? Mm-hmm. And at the time they were distributed by Red, and so we would get these like weekly emails from them of like new releases, upcoming releases. So this popped up, Babel popped up, and I'd already noticed that we like when I started working there, Sigh No More had already been out, but it became one of those records that like if I needed to hit a minimum to get the ship, I could always add a Sigh No More. So I already knew like it was selling pretty well.
Yeah,
and so I see them doing Babel. And I get the email. I'm all excited, and I turn to the owner, and I was like, "Yo, dude, I think I should order like 60 of these."
Yeah,
which is like like it's a lot. It's in the grand scheme of like records, considering like these records sell millions of copies. 60 copies doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're coming into the essence of a small business, which even Soundstage Direct, even though as big as they got, was a small business. There were only a few employees in a space smaller than the 300,000 square feet of the Knoxville Record Garage. But at any rate, he looked at me and he turned to the other dude who's kind of the general manager by like understanding, not by title. And I was like, I should buy 60 of these. I know, it's right. It's interesting. Right?
There's a lot of
interesting stuff going on.
There's a lot of raspberry in there.
Good. It's good.
But it's weird because it doesn't taste like raspberry. It tastes like let me rephrase it. It doesn't taste like artificial raspberry.
Right, no, it doesn't.
It tastes like actual raspberry.
Yes. Yep. So at any rate, so I turned to him like, I should buy 60 copies of this. And the owner and the de facto general manager laughed at me. They're like, no, you're crazy if you want to buy 60 copies of this. I was like, no, really, I think I should do that. And they told me I was crazy. I'm like, all right, whatever. I won't order 60 copies. But generally, when you tell me not to do something, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I placed an order like probably 10 minutes after they told me not to for 60 copies of Babel.
Yeah.
Fast forward about 3 or 4 weeks.
No one can get it.
Well, no, the owner, it still hadn't been released yet.
Oh.
This was probably maybe like 2 or 3 months before it actually been released. The owner walks out of his office because you get the sales reports.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Owner walks out of his office. He's like, the new Mumford and Sons. We gotta get them on order. We're getting tons of orders. We're getting tons of orders. And and they look at me. They're like, Paul, can we get more on order? I'm like, whoa, hold on, let me look at this. I bring up the information on the thing. I'm like, oh yeah, no, man, we only sold like 40 copies. Well, yeah, but like we sold 40 copies. I'm like, I have 60 on order, motherfucker.
Yeah, you guys should have fucking listened to me.
And they were like, oh. I'm just like, would you like me to order another 60? And he was like, Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Why
Turn
don't I order 60 more of
Their legs like, one more.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say at that point, they pretty much left me alone when it came to like stuff
Yeah.
like that. I was like, yo, I think we should get these. And
They're like, yeah, let them be.
because that was the thing. I never really listened to this album. So this wasn't based on me being a Mumford and Sons fan. This was based on me looking at like the data of, oh, okay, this album has been selling a lot of copies and consistently sells like over this amount of time, which is like just the way you have to look at it. But yeah, so that was my but that was the thing, because I realized that then, because this was 2011 to 2013. Did I even make it to 13? I don't know, maybe something like that. But that's around the time that I was working for Soundstage Direct. So it's like this was kind of at the end of Sigh No More. Do you know what I mean? But I could see that. I was like, okay, this is selling. I mean, they did over 3 million copies, in the US. So, worldwide it's selling, because they also had an international, consumership there. And so, it was just one of those albums where I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand and it's not that I don't understand the album. I didn't understand the attraction to the album. Like, why is this album so giant? So no, I am.
Actually, I just thought of an interesting fact about Babel.
What's that?
One of the songs, I cannot remember what song it is. One of the music video for that song, they recorded the night that I saw them in Camden, because the video has there's 4 members of the band, and there's 4 different, the screen split into 4, and you're kind of following everybody's journey. One of the members of the band is in Adventure Aquarium. The lead singer is like driving a motorcycle around Camden. And like it's all just like very obviously, like you can see Philadelphia in the background. Like I'm like, oh. And then the video ends with the way that they were opening up the shows on that tour. And I'm like, oh shit, that's the fucking that's the Tweeter Center. I was like, oh, it's fucking, they shot that night, didn't they?
That's nice. Cool. That's cool. It's it's good to be a part of that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, that's good. So yeah, good album, not a great album, definitely a good album. It has me interested enough that I want to check out Babel.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they have like a third album, right? That's like all electric, that people hate it?
Yeah, see, the third album is electric. It didn't get as well received as Sigh No More or Babel got well. I feel like got well received as well.
Oh, Babel's fucking very well.
I enjoyed. I think it's called The Wolf,
something like
that. I enjoyed their third album.
Okay.
I don't own it on vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
I've meant to pick it up, but I don't own it on vinyl. But I enjoyed the fuck out of it.
Okay. And
I think as of right now, I think they're currently on.
They're getting on a hiatus.
I think they're currently on an indefinite hiatus.
Yeah.
I think they have been on that since that third album came out, like not that long after the third album came out, which is a couple years at this point.
When I read, the singer tweeted something and kind of got canceled, but not fully canceled.
Did it get canceled?
So a little bit, to an extent, and he just decided, I'm just gonna stay quiet for a while. I think did
he tweet something about forgetting that he was married to Carey Mulligan and thinking he was married to Michelle Williams?
I think that's what happened.
I mean, it happens when you're married to when you marry a doppelganger. It fucking happens. Paul, you think it's a good album, not a great album. I think it's a good album. What is that sweet Miss Rachel loving baby angel upstairs thinking about that?
She does love Miss Rachel, doesn't
fucking she? Like you read about it.
It's funny. She's all about Miss Rachel, and she is all about this album. She's like, this is a solid. So
if I remember correctly, I predicted that she would. Yeah.
Like so here's what happened. I actually was afraid I wasn't gonna, because she didn't go food shopping with me. Her nap schedule was all weird, so she didn't go food shopping with me. There were no like long car rides we had to take.
She's got a day job now.
So I know. She's like, I barely see her. She's working overnights at a steel forger out in Easton. Oh wait, no, that's Jack. Sorry, my bad.
Isn't it weird that like when you joke about child labor, you automatically go to a steel forge or a mine? Yeah, right. Like that's the thing you go to.
One of my children is working in a steel forge now, so there you go. But no, so I actually put it on for her. It was yesterday actually, while she was eating lunch. So I was playing it on my phone, and Sigh No More comes on, and immediately she stops and looks at my phone. So the vocal harmonization,
he does have a very distinct voice.
Yes, his voice, the harmonies, all that kind of stuff definitely caught her attention right away, and she was just looking at my phone like, "What is that coming out of your phone?" Like, it was a mix of that and like, what's
she's just like, "Is that guy married to Carrie Mulligan?"
Yeah, right. But like, she definitely was listening as it was going on, and like, because like where she's eating lunch, but she's also, as the songs are changing, she's looking back at my phone, and she does get that like very like kind of like pensive, inquisitive look on her face. That's when I know she's really listening.
Sorry, I just looked at your note and was like, "What the fuck does that mean?" And I just figured out exactly what it means.
But so she was definitely taking it in and listening to it, and by the time "Awake My Soul" came on, she was singing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So no, this was definitely a like. It was definitely either way. It was not going to go down as an indifferent because of the fact of how interested she was.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Even if she didn't start singing to it, I think this would have been a like. Because she would have had to like been like pissed off at it for it to be a dislike.
Yeah.
But like that's usually kind of the factor. Definitely, if she's singing to a song, it's definitely a good thing. No, it's definitely as she's listening, and she was intently focused on the album while eating lunch. I think it was raviolis or something like that. So, and she loves her raviolis.
Chef Boyardee raviolis?
No, they got these like Gerber ones or like baby pickups or whatever. Man,
it's like the little Gerber frozen TV dinners.
Kind of, yeah.
$5 with those because like. But I remember I fucking
chicken and cheese raviolis.
So I fucking loved. There were certain things I loved when my kids wouldn't finish, and that was one of them. Because I would finish them. They were actually not bad.
I haven't eaten them because she finishes them every single fucking time. So so that brings us here, and this is the last album of your 50.
It is,
right?
yes.
So that brings us here. You're at 15 likes and 5 dislikes. I am at 15 likes and 3 dislikes, but I still have 2 albums.
You do.
So what that means is if of the last 2 albums I have...
Just thought of a joke. I'm going to make it a little bit. Continue.
Of the last 2 albums we have, if I get at least 1 like or 1 indifferent, I automatically win the Regina factor. Because I can't have less dislikes than you. So of the last 2 albums, if she likes the next album or one of the next 2 albums or is indifferent to either one, I get the win. Now, in the case of a tie, if she hates both albums, which honestly could happen.
Yeah, which we've just established, we will divert to one of, I think.
Well, here's what it comes down to. So we have 10 indifferents, right? So in the case of a tie, we'd have to go back and compare the indifferent albums. Honestly, we'd have to go back to the beginning of the season before the Regina factor started.
Yeah.
So before the Regina factor started, I had 2 indifferents and you had 1 indifferent. So what it would come down to, and I already picked which one from my indifference that we would go because we weren't doing the Regina factor, so it didn't matter. And I don't remember her reaction. The second one, the next 2, I actually don't think I played for her.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it didn't really matter. So what it would really come down to is, does Regina like Bright Eyes, I'm Wide Awake, It's Morning? Or does she like Taking Back Sunday, Tell All Your Friends? So that's what it would come down to.
Let me,
if she hates the next 2 albums that are mine.
That's an interesting showdown.
It is an interesting showdown. So I'm hoping it doesn't come to that because I need to win something here on my own podcast. But so winning the affection of Regina may come down to Bright Eyes versus Taking Back Sunday. But if on one of the last 2 albums of the season, which are both my albums, if she likes or is indifferent to either one, I automatically get the win because it comes down. Even if she's indifferent to both of them, I'll have less dislikes than you.
I'll let you have that.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna have the big D.
Oh, fuck you! Fuck you and your big D. You ain't got no big D. All right. So what's your top 3 songs on this album? Which by the way is what I forgot to write down. I'm like, fuck, I forgot a segment.
Top 3. I'm gonna go Winter Winds, White Blank Page, and gotta go with the hit Little Lion Man.
Okay. All right. So
which I think, if I'm not mistaken, on Wikipedia, all 3 of those songs are listed as singles.
I think they are.
With the addition of The Cave are the 4 singles off this album.
Yes. So my my top 3 on this album are The Cave. Our Little Lion Man, and as well as Wake My Soul. Those are definitely the songs where, like, if I went to see them live, I'd want to see them live.
This is one of those albums where I had a very hard time. I had an easy time with my bottom, but I had a very hard time with my top.
Yeah,
because I like I said, I enjoy this album. I put it on my 25 for a reason.
Yep.
So I had a very hard time. You could, given the day, you could probably replace any of my top 3 with 3 completely different songs, minus my bottom.
Okay, like I would probably give like an honorable mention to Roll Away Your Stone.
Mm-hmm.
That was one that almost ended up on my top 3. That was very, very close.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It came down between Awake My Soul and Roll Away the Stone. So it was very close. But no, those are 3 really solid songs on there, and the ones you mentioned too. I'm actually not surprised. I actually think they're all pretty decent songs too. So what's your least favorite?
I don't know if I'm pronunciation aside. Timsel.
Actually, I don't remember that song.
It's exactly.
Yeah. I don't
exactly. When I was listening to this album,
Timshel.
Yes.
Okay.
When I was listening to this,
I don't think I hate that song.
I don't hate it either. But it's just like when I was listening to I'm kind of going back to early, like 45 years ago, Country Hipster podcast,
right.
Adam, where the song that impacted me the least is my least favorite.
Okay.
Because honestly, the first time I listened to this album for the podcast, this song came on, and I went, I have no recollection of this song whatsoever.
Okay. All right, cool. No, and I think that's a fair way to rate your least favorite song on the album is kind of like the least memorable song, you know. Yeah. But mine, I got to go with Dust Bowl Dance. Here's what I'm gonna say about Dust Bowl Dance, because we've talked about this. Remember the Hooters, Long Way Home? Mm-hmm. They had that horrible song Graveyard Waltz, which was both of our least favorites. Yeah. Dust Bowl Dance is basically Graveyard Waltz. It's basically Graveyard. It's pretty much this. It's like, this is not good.
No.
I will give dishonorable mentions to Thistle and Weeds, as well as the title track Sigh No More. I will tell you that when I put this on and Sigh No More came on, I was like, fuck, I'm gonna hate this album.
No.
You know, I was listening to Sigh No More. I'm like, I'm really gonna fucking hate this album. And then The Cave came on. I'm like, no, I like this song. And then like I was like, oh, okay, no. All right. It's just I don't know why they would do the title track on such a bad song.
No.
You know, even though, like, you know, yes, it's cool, it's pretty harmonies, and
yeah,
you know what I mean. But it's just like, man, this isn't a good song. I don't like it.
I don't mind Thistle and Weed that much.
Definitely. That honestly was my least favorite for a while.
If Tim Scholl wasn't on this album, honestly, now that I think about it, Thistle and Weed would probably be my least memorable.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. But no, I definitely had to go with Dust Bowl Dance, just because of its like I said, just the whole listening to it, and it's like, man, it's like Graveyard Waltz, and you know what I mean. It's very, very similar theme, very similar feel, where it's just like kind of like, you know, and these are like the songs, those 3 songs that I just mentioned are the ones that, like, if I were to see them live, I'd be like, I want to take a piss.
Yeah,
you know, which is what I don't get about this album. There are bands who I see who I would like fucking not leave while they're playing, regardless of how bad I had to like go to the bathroom or how badly I wanted a beer. I would not leave the room when they're playing. If this was the only album they had coming out, I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. Like, I mean, I even did that during when we went to see Gaslight Anthem, and I love Gaslight Anthem. Well, I like the first album of Gaslight Anthem, and that was a fun concert. But like, when it came to a certain point, I'm like, you know, I'm gonna go grab more beers. Because I don't fucking want to hear. I don't care about this song. You know what I mean? And
I was fine with that because you got me a beer.
I did get you. You know what I mean? But that's kind of how I.
But I made up for it by buying you waffles.
You did. That was fun. Waffle House was fun after that. That was good. That was a good time. Dana waitress was flirting with me. I think
Waffle House is a wild fucking place.
It is.
Even like nothing really crazy happened at the Waffle House where, but it's still just a fight. It's the Wild West.
Yeah. It was pretty crazy. All right, so we are on our Discogs value. This is Adam's last Discogs value of the season. So I had a little bit of a tough time with this.
You did.
Because, all right, so here's what I will say. Here's what I've actually, not decided, but like discovered on this. This is 100%, not 100%. I'd say 98%.
Fingerprints all the fuck over this.
Well, yeah, those were there before I touched it.
This
but I probably got some fingerprints on it too. It is a 2010 180-gram reissue.
It definitely feels that way.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I knew that from the weight. Here's the problem. The problem with this specific pressing. So the way we do this, okay, the way you figure out our
I thought like the barcode was the end.
No, because it has all the same fucking barcodes for all releases.
That's
the 2009, 2010, 2011 releases. European releases, they have all the same barcodes.
That's fucking stupid.
It's actually not. It's actually pretty fucking brilliant because they're finally getting into an actual manufacturing part number and barcode number thing. It's actually the smartest thing to do. To believe it or not, it actually is. It actually makes sense because then you have it uniform across the page. Now, where it should be different is if you do a completely different release. I guess technically this one should have a different barcode because it is a 2010 180-gram vinyl release, whereas the 2009 is not 180-gram vinyl. And then there's also some gatefold versions of this as well, gatefold cover. This is not. This is the just the regular envelope sleeve. But it is 180-gram and it is a 2010 release. So this is where I ran into an issue, and I had to say, when the fuck did you get this album? When to verify the pressing, you go by the etchings, and to remind people what the etchings are is where you have the label and then you have the grooves where the music plays. There's a little bit of dead wax in between those things, and you'll see etchings around the label, and that will generally tell you where, when, how the record was pressed. So this one here, the etchings on this have the catalog number.
Let me see one of those microfibers.
What's that?
Let me see one of those microfiber cloths.
What? Oh yeah, that has the etching has the catalog number. It has that it's a reissue. Because sometimes you'll see RE-1, RE-2, RE-3. That's reissue, 1, 2, or 3. This one here has messages on there, which sometimes happens as well. So it says something like "Tortured Mastering" by Carl 3/10.
No, it says "True Tone Mastering."
True Tone Mastering by Carl. By
Carl 3-10.
Right. So in March of 2010. And that's actually the other thing that I found funny about this, right? So in March in 2010, this was actually remastered.
Yeah.
But this isn't a remastered copy. It's not officially listed as a remastered copy. But Carl remastered it in 2010. 2009.
Whoever the fuck Carl is.
Yeah, 2009 does not, the etchings would not be a remaster, it'd be just the original thing. The issue that I had with Discogs with verifying this...
Oh, wait, that's not remastered by Carl.
No, it's not. It's just mastered by.
No, that's remastering NY.
New York.
Carl.
Yeah.
310.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. So it was definitely done in March of 2010 that it was done. Yeah. So that's why I figured but those etchings, that little message does not show up on any of the fucking releases of the 2010 180-gram reissue.
That's weird as fuck.
They just have a different etching, but it does not include that message. And that actually matters. It helps you to determine which one it is. That's actually, that was a determining factor with the first episode that we did that had Bright Eyes. It's Wide Awake. It's Morning. I had a very special remastered edition that had different etchings than the other versions of that album. That's why it made it worth. Made that album worth $80.
Definitely 180 grams.
This one here, I could not verify the etchings, except that I know it's 180 gram based on the date, March of 2010, when it was done. The 2010 reissue came out in May of 2010, so we're going with it's a 2010 180 gram reissue. It's just it might be a little bit different, but no one's selling it on Discogs, or no one realizes it is a thing. So that's fine. So, but either way, on the very good plus grading of that album, your value is $25.99.
Okay.
Making $26. So that brings your final total. Got some numbers here. Final total is $1,040.
Okay.
Okay. Of your 25 albums for this season. That puts you $215 against me with my running total of $825. Your average release is $41.60 per record. Your least expensive album in your 25 was Willie Nelson's Stardust at $6, which was episode 2. Your most expensive motherfucking goddamn Steel Train self-titled album at $180.
Yeah.
So, for me to beat you with my 2 remaining records, I would have to average $108 of very good plus value per record. One of them, I will say, I have no shot.
Yeah.
The other, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I don't even know because I didn't look it up. So maybe I have a shot with one of them. Definitely not.
Yeah, I say one of them, no chance in hell.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no. I won't say no chance in hell. I would just say probably not. So, in essence, as we pull the box of Michael, you're actually pulling our last 2 episodes.
No. The one you're saying, probably not. Look at me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
You think that's your shot?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I was thinking about that because remember I texted you about that one down the shore?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, I'm like,
that one's my shot.
I was like,
that
one's like $95 when I talked to you about.
That one's my shot of hitting the average.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my shot. It's not my shot of making up, $215. It's my shot of hitting the average. So, but in essence,
I thought the other one was because I thought the other one was a special.
It is a special, but like I don't think it's going to be the average. Yeah. That's just my thoughts. It doesn't mean it can't happen.
All right,
so it can't happen.
Let's officially clear.
There you go. You are cleared.
My shelf is officially empty.
If you guys actually watch the podcast on YouTube or the Spotify video, you can actually see our records are behind us. They've been behind us. There's Adam's records, which also has volume 2 of Booze and Vinyl, which because he's season 2, and then my records are here, which have Booze and Vinyl volume 1, as well as the Christmas one. No particular reason why I put the Christmas one there, but we set them in one spot and we've been moving them over throughout the episode. So if you look at episode 1, my records are filled here and then they're empty over here, and so we've been clearing them out. So Adam has officially cleared out his side of his little record compartment there. And even though we're only going to announce what next week's episode is, in essence, Adam is actually pulling the last 2 episodes right now based on the fact that we only have 2 records left.
That's true.
So,
all right, come here, Michael.
Michael Stripe. Oh, yep. Come on.
It's funny that Michael Stripe lives in the box of Michael.
He does. Hey, where else would a Michael live?
Oh, man.
We know it's going to be me. We know it's going to be one of my pulls, or one of my.
It's a pink, which means it's Paul.
Of course, yeah. We already knew that. It's number 5. I know which one I hope it is.
Oh, look at this gnarly ass thing.
What is it?
It's a fucking dead ass cricket in the box of Michael.
Give me that. I fucking want that. Now our audience has to drink because we have a dead ass cricket. All right, I know which one I want it to be, but it doesn't mean it will be the one that gets picked. It's not the one if it's what I think you're like by the look on your face, it's not actually the one I wanted. I wanted that last. But anyway, go on.
So
tell us what it is.
Envelope number 5. It's a pink card.
Of course.
It's Beelzebubba.
Yeah!
By the Dead Milkman.
Beelzebubba by the Dead Milkman.
Which I have been fucking waiting for this. This is another one I've been waiting for this whole fucking season.
Here it is right here. Philadelphia's own The Dead Milkman. Beelzebubba is my copy.
Do you want to let the viewers know what? Or are we going to wait till...
No, we're going to wait. Okay. We're going to wait. We're going to do... we're going to pull even though we know what it is. But we're going to do it. And I have a... beautiful translucent blue vinyl copy of this album, which I'll tell a funny story about.
Save it for the podcast.
I will save it for next week's episode. I will have to
just cut your greasy ass fingers all over that.
I will have to apologize to the members of Dead Milkman for that too. But yes, that is next week's episode. It is the Dead Milkman, Beelzebubba. Got some fucking old school Philly rock there, Philly punk rock there. Great album. This is one of those 2 that I will say it's not my favorite Dead Milkman album. It's just the one that I own.
What would Big Lizard?
We'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
We'll talk about it next week, buddy. So we have a potential. Well, no, I know there will be definitely one. One of our guests will definitely, if they're available. Excuse me, I'm fairly certain Kristen will jump at the opportunity to be on the episode next week.
No.
Because I know the other people who were interested will probably be unavailable anyway. So, but not only that, I know she'll like this, and I was hoping we'd have her on one of the last 2 episodes anyway. So, so that'll be good. So next week is the Dead Milkmen Beelzebub. This is the one I was actually hoping would be the following, but it's fine. It's all good. It actually probably works out. Which yeah. So I'm not going to say anymore because I'm going to give away the last episode if we do this. So, man, 2 episodes.
Yeah, seriously, we're finally
man.
looking after 47 years.
It's 47 years.
It's been
3 months and 2 days.
What's the line? What's the old woman's monologue from Titanic? It's like it's been 83 years.
Oh, I don't fucking know.
And I can still smell the fresh paint.
There you go. So, do you have anything else to say about Mumford & Sons Sigh No More, or your, big fucking Discogs value fucking Steel Train assholes?
No. Go listen to Mumford & Sons Sigh No More. Like I always say, establish your own opinions. Also give Babel a chance because, like I said, I was very torn while listening to this. Should I have picked this or should I have picked Babel? But you guys go listen to both. Give it a chance. Listen to Dead Milkmen for next week's episode because I'm very excited because I'm very listening to it on the way home tonight.
Very excited about that. And that's it. That's all you got?
Yeah.
All right. It is time.